We interrupt this program to bring you an important Wayfair message. Wayfair's got style tips for every home. This is Styles McKenzie helping you make those rooms sing. Today's style tip. When it comes to making a statement, treat bold patterns like neutrals. Go wild, like an untamed animal print area rug under a rustic farmhouse table from Wayfair.com. Arr, fierce. This has been your Wayfair style tip to keep those interiors superior.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/PODKATZ13. Just go to Indeed.com/PODKATZ13 right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Are you ready to learn the 3 secrets to launching a successful podcast? Hi, I'm Bill, a recent client of the Podcast Mogul. If you've been thinking about starting a podcast but aren't sure where to begin, he's got you covered. He is hosting a free webinar where he will share the 3 secrets that can help you launch, grow, and monetize your podcast without any fancy equipment or technical headaches. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot now and let him help get your podcast off the ground.
Welcome to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. Join the podcast mogul Phil Better as he interviews successful entrepreneurs that make their living in the digital world. Now, let's join your host, Phil Better, and his special guest today on Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast.
Aspiring and veteran entrepreneurs, welcome back to another empowering episode of Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm, of course, your host, Phil Better, aka the Podcast Mogul, and today we have a truly exceptional guest joining us. Before we dive into the wisdom they are about to share, let me take a moment to introduce you to them, to someone's work who has been making waves in the world of spiritual psychology and personal transformation. Our guest is not only an award-winning spiritual psychological coach, but also a double best-selling author. She stands as a movement maker and literally alchemist, specializing in the extraordinary, revealing what becomes possible when you activate your leadership by standing boldly in the authority of your message and sharing your unique story. Now, what sets our guest apart is her unique approach rooted in universal law and metaphysics. Her methods are just not informed by spiritual psychology and neuroscience, but also supported by powerful tools like subconscious reprogramming and energetic insight. It's a holistic blend that transcends the conventional boundaries of personal development. But enough from me. Let's get to the heart of it. Prepare yourself to gain profound insight as we unravel the secrets to activating leadership, understanding universal law, and creating lasting change with incredible Lainne Love. So without further ado, let's welcome our guest. Thank you so much for being here, Lainne.
Hi, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I know we already did it, but we'll do it again. It's
Lainne, I apologize.
It's okay. Lady Love, and that was an amazing intro. I loved it. I felt pumped up and excited to meet this person.
I look at myself as a podcast host. My job is to be everyone's hype man or hype person, if you will, so that they feel like, okay, let's go. Let's take the energy to the next level. Like, I know we had great energy before we started, but like I had to take it to the next level. And that's my job as the podcast mogul. I need to keep people pumped up and ready to learn from my guests. So, is there anything you want to add to that little intro about yourself that I shared before we jump into the first question?
You nailed it. That was amazing. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay. So pretty much right off the bat, why did you become an entrepreneur? What spurred the creation of this version of you that I see before me, the entrepreneur?
I think there are a certain amount of people, or maybe all entrepreneurs, are really you were just born as an entrepreneur. You had this feeling, this calling inside of you that you wanted to create something that was your own, and to innovate, to color outside of the lines, to create something that is your own, to be the boss, to learn, to grow, to employ people. Really, to me, it's about creation and innovation and offering solutions and possibilities where there isn't any that you see at the moment. And so you get to be the one that creates that, along a lot of freedom and things that go with it as well, or the idea of freedom, because when you are an entrepreneur, you are living your job. And so that line between who you are and your job can easily bleed one into the other. And so if it's important to you, thinking about boundaries and guidelines as you're establishing your routine, your business, or even just the vision for what it is that you're wanting to create, putting your lifestyle into that. Like, how many hours do I want to work? And what is this actually going to take? Because being an entrepreneur takes evenings and weekends and holidays and all of those moments. And all in the same breath, it doesn't have to. So, like at a certain time of the day, like I have to shut things off because I'm also a mama. And that's also a role that I value and that it deserves my time and energy and investment. So, I put that into my schedule as if I'm that shut off and all of my attention is given to my child and I'm fully present for that. So I think that's a really important step, is creating those boundaries and looking at what you want your life to look like and realizing that you're building towards that, because when you are building something, it does take all of your energy and time. Yeah. That's the sexy part of entrepreneurship.
No, but here's the thing, because you mentioned that you are a mother, and so like for me as a man, I'll never be able to give birth. It's currently physically impossible. Who knows in the future? But I feel like when I made my business, I was giving birth to something.
You are.
I'm creating something. So did you feel like, did you start your business before you became a mom, or were you a mom that started your entrepreneurial journey?
Both, because what you will notice also as an entrepreneur is that there are different stages of your business as you evolve as a human and as a business owner. So both is the answer. But I had to make a lot of changes. How I was before I was a parent and who I was after I became a parent were two different people. And yes, to give you that credit on being a business owner and creating anything, whether it's a business or a product, or you are essentially giving birth to something. You've thought about it, you invested all of your energy into the creation of it, and then you delivered it out into the world. And in essence, it actually becomes its own entity, really. It has its own energetics, its own purpose. And we have to listen to that pulse and the soul of the business or the creation to really do best by it, just as we do with our children. But it's definitely not the same thing.
Obviously, no, there's vastly different like benefits and problems with both, and a lot less pain in one aspect than the other physically. I will grant you that in the difference, but believe it as a metaphor, it kind of sticks, because You create life and give birth to it. You have to create the idea and give birth to the idea. So
Yes.
in that aspect, that is the similarities. And afterwards, it's a lot less painful growing a business than it is helping grow a child. Just from seeing my sister growing my beautiful nephew. But yes, so were you like, was there a moment in time that you said, okay, I'm going to become an entrepreneur, or was it just your whole life you've been building businesses and being an entrepreneur, searching for the freedom that the lifestyle can bring?
I just always felt like there's something more. I'm not satisfied with this. This is great, and there are many good things about working within institutions or corporate structures, or having a job or a career in whatever it is that you're doing in whatever capacity. There are definite benefits to those things, but I like to live on the edge a little bit more, and because that's what it is when you're building a business. Is you're uncomfortable a lot, because you're having to create all of the structure. You're constantly having to pivot and innovate and troubleshoot, and everything is sourced from you. So there isn't something or someone to fall back on. And so that part is often uncomfortable because you're always required to grow, and nobody's coming to save you. You have to get up off of the ground every single time and save yourself. And so the wonderful part about that is you really end up developing yourself in very, very many different ways. And you're going to make a lot of mistakes all at the same time, but that's part of the development. So when you are going into entrepreneurship, you have to be prepared to that to learn, to take the time to learn, and that you're going to make a lot of mistakes, and that it isn't all going to happen now. And even as I say that, and I don't want to create that that's the only possibility, because there are possibilities in which we can all just come together and work wonderfully, and you can have more of the idea of instant success, because I do believe that we create our realities and anything and everything is possible. So I just want to throw that out there. But if that's not what happens for you, and you are making a lot of mistakes and it's taking longer than you want it to, that's okay too. That's part of the gig. That's part of what it means. And be prepared for risk. And it's not just taking the risk, it's the consequence of the risk thereafter. So, for instance, if you have a business and you're like, okay, I'm going to take this loan, it feels really uncomfortable, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the loan. So, there's the act of just taking the loan that you have to prepare yourself for. But the consequences of taking that loan is then you have these payments that you have to make. There's this responsibility to the payments, or the responsibility to potentially not being able to pay that back. And what does that risk look like? So, as I think sometimes we think that it ends at just making that decision that I'm going to do this, but there are consequences thereafter for every choice that you're making. And that is part of the learning curve. And that was part of the learning curve for me, that I was like, oh, I thought I did the hard thing in just making the choice. But no, there are things thereafter. So I think that's a really important lesson that I can pass on.
I love that lesson. And it's an important one too for the audience to learn as they venture into entrepreneurial ventures themselves. And with that, because we were talking how there are ups and downs for entrepreneurs, I was wondering, when you do hit those hard days, maybe not your rock bottoms, but those hard days, nothing's clicking, nothing's jiving, personal life, it may be hitting into the business, with the boundaries blend a little, happens no matter how hard we try to keep those boundaries thing. Do you have a moment from your journey as an entrepreneur? Maybe it's a win that you got, a client had that just really hit home, that like solidifies, like, this is why I do what I do, or you were able to achieve some personal goal because you ventured into the entrepreneurial world.
It always comes back for me about digging deeper within yourself. I just finished my second book, and I co-wrote it with uh, 11 other authors. And my chapter is really about that, about digging deeper within yourself, and no one's coming to save you. So when we hit those challenging moments in our life, which you will, and likely there will be many, how we overcome those and how we find the light at the end of the tunnel, um, or that extra oomph that we need, it all comes from within you. Sometimes we can search externally and find inspiration. And that's where I find inspiration in things like listening to this amazing podcast, where you can see that there are other entrepreneurs, other people that are on the same path as you. And just not feeling alone sometimes helps, because I think everybody goes back to like, I'm the only one. I'm doing this all alone. And it feels heavy, but you're not the only one. And sometimes you're alone. But when I say that in that we're meant to be. You're here to do you. There's only one you. There'll never be another you in the whole entire existence of the universe. You are a masterpiece, a unique expression of the divine. There's only one you. So you are here to just be you, and whatever that looks like. So other people aren't meant to do it for you. They can sometimes do it with you. They can offer you a hand to hold, or maybe some kind of advice or mentorship. But at the end of the day, you have to find it within you. And so that's what I always go back to when things get tough is sometimes you'll just have to sink into it, like for the moment, and just like give over to feeling hopeless or sad. And that's okay. That's actually good. That's called being human. We have emotions for a reason. They're telling us something. I'm out of alignment here. I'm overwhelmed here. I'm feeling this here. So we're actually meant to feel the feelings. And so do that. Feel your feelings. And if you just let yourself feel your feelings, you'll find that just naturally you start to feel a little bit lighter. And then you have to find it within yourself to dig deeper. Okay, this situation, this circumstance, whatever it is asking me to find more within myself. So find it and do whatever that takes to do it. Whether it's move your body, get some exercise and sunlight, drink some water, call a friend, listen to a podcast, read a book, figure out what the tools are that work for you and help you to dig deeper and find them more within yourself.
I love that. And talking about digging in and finding it in yourself, it comes to investing in yourself, which hey, name of the podcast, right? I was wondering if on your journey as a spiritual psychological coach and best-selling author, which is truly inspiring, could you share a pivotal moment or decision where you consciously invested in yourself, propelling you forward in the entrepreneur towards the entrepreneur you are today?
I am constantly investing in myself. Like I am never not investing in myself. I have spent 6 figures in investing in myself. I am the most valuable thing that I am, that I have, that I do. Nothing is more valuable than me and investing in myself, because when I show up as a better human, that affects every single person around me. And that affects what I'm able to contribute to my family, to my friends, and to the world. Because frankly, I'm here to contribute to as many people as possible. But it is essential to invest in yourself. And I understand that everybody is at a different financial capacity or level. And I have definitely been at various financial levels myself. And there's always an opportunity to choose to invest in yourself. Again, listening to Invest in Yourself podcast, reading books. There are a lot of inexpensive ways to invest in yourself, even just choosing yourself. Like, actually, I don't want to do this. I'm going to actually choose to say no. That is, believe it or not, investing in yourself because you're choosing to be in alignment with what it is that your soul is asking you to do. And the more that you can do that, the better your life becomes and the less hiccups that you're going to have. So, investing in yourself is a non-negotiable. And so, again, you can start with the free things, then you can move to things like coaching, or therapy, or weekend retreats. There are endless amounts of possibilities. Education. I am always enrolled in some kind of education, and I always am working with a therapist and a coach. So I'm usually working with 2 to 4 different people at a time.
I love that. I love hearing that you're investing so much in yourself and calling yourself the great. Oh, I know you're speaking to everybody, but I'm going to say, hearing it come from you saying that you are the greatest investment of time and energy, and you are valuable, which is true. And I think some people actually forget that in the grand scheme when they work the corporate life because they think of themselves just a cog in the machine and super replaceable, when they realize, no, when you invest in yourself, when you start taking the time to better yourself, learn skills, make yourself valuable, you become your value explodes exponentially, and you need to keep investing in yourself to get those returns. Hey, look at that. It's a stock market in a podcast that's not about the stock market. Who would have thunk it, people? But I do have what's funny, I do have a recording for another podcast that I do because I don't have enough podcasts as it is. That is on the stock market, but that's not going to be promoted here. But anyways, we're going back to you. I was wondering if we're going to talk to where you were when you first started. When you really first, like, it doesn't matter how you frame it, but when you first decided that make that leap fully into entrepreneur, we're talking to that version of you. They're sitting listening to this podcast because they heard how amazing you are, and not because of me. It's all because of you. I'm just this random person talking. What piece of advice would you have them or would like to give them when starting down the journey of becoming a best-selling author or a spiritual psychological coach? What advice would you give them to help them on their way, either on the personal development side or on the actual business side?
Well, on both sides, it's kind of the same answer,
Okay.
in that you have to do the work. So whatever title it is that you want to have, you have to pursue that education. So that requires investment of your time and your money and your energy to pursue the title, the credentials. And as you are in pursuit of those things, you're going to discover different things about yourself, and that might lead you on another path. So don't be fixed in one idea. That could be the thing that got you in the door. Like, no, I want to be a doctor. Great. And then you start that path. You start taking the classes and going to school and meeting with the mentors and the teachers and reading the books. And along the way, you're like, this isn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. I'm actually more interested in this. Oh, great. So maybe then you become an osteopath. You decide you want to become an osteopath instead of a doctor because of what you learned while you were pursuing becoming a doctor. And then you can go on that road and be like, oh, sheesh, this still actually isn't it. I really liked this part about what I learned, but actually I'm more interested in energy medicine. Whatever that is, don't get fixed on one path. Just beginning the journey is taking you to where it is that you want to go, and relax and let it flow and take you to where it is that you want to go and follow your nudges. I've studied so many different modalities. Um, and it's not until like 20 years later that I can see how they all fit together and the path that I was on and all of the, the bread crumb trail that I was following to get me to where I want to be. So be okay with that. Accept that. Don't fight against that. And in terms of starting your business, it's kind of the same thing because you're going to go in with an idea. But your idea is just an idea until you start taking action and until you start creating the foundation of your business. And that becomes something that's the most important part of your business is creating the solid foundation. What works? What are my policies? Policies are really important. All that like boring paperwork stuff. It's actually really important for the foundation and the structure of your business. And that helps you to keep in alignment with your vision and with your integrity as a business and as a business owner and how you're choosing to interact with your clients. And how do you do that? So thinking about like the everyday functions. So there's a lot, again, like not sexy things that are really, really important. All of those little details. And you're not going to know those details until you start taking actions. So you're going to go in with this idea of, oh, but I have to do all these things because it has to be perfect and I have to know what I'm doing. And that's great. It's great to want to be prepared, but there's difference between being prepared and being perfect and being ready and having like the actual functional business in place. And it's going to take some time. You're going to make a lot of mistakes. You're not going to know that you need to add this thing to your policy until you run up against something that's uncomfortable. So be prepared to be uncomfortable and be prepared to be learning a lot on your way. I hope that is helpful.
That's super helpful, and I love it. We are coming to near the end of the episode, which I despise. I would love to spend about 3 years chatting with you because I'm pretty sure you'll change the way I see the world and business even more than you already have today. So I want to thank you first for that. But I have 10-year-old you standing right here, a spitfire of an individual, but also we have your child, which you let me know is under the age of 10, so coming up to 10. So we have the 10-year-old version here of your child right here. What piece of advice, because I'm going to steal this and give it to my nephew because you're wiser than me, because you've had more spiritual awakenings and more business awakenings as well. What piece of advice do you want to give your 10-year-old self that can also help your 10-year-old child?
Oh, I feel like this is never ending. I just like a volcano of things fill up.
Yeah.
But first and foremost is really to have fun. Be a kid. Actually be a kid. Be outside. Move your body. Use your imagination. Be creative. Be in the moment. Not thinking about and not worrying about, that's a whole other conversation. But like moving that into adulthood and even not worrying about it when you're an adult, but like just really childhood is such a short period in our lives as human beings. We only get almost like, maybe up to 12 years of actually being considered a child. It's a very short period of time and so magical and it's so special. As my son pulls me back into that and wait a minute, be present, be in this moment. Think about these crazy possibilities. Use your imagination. Remember magic. But also on a practical level is teaching important skills like talking about things like money. What do you do with it? I always tell my son, what do you do with it? You save it, you spend it, you invest it, and you share it. These are the things that you do with money. And then we talk about why do you do that? We also talk a lot about spreading love. So when we're outside and we're interacting with people, we're really conscious about how we're doing that, because we talk a lot about spreading love and the importance of that. Also talk about connecting with nature, and that, well, no, actually don't go up to the tree and pull the leaves off of the tree. That's actually a living being. It has consciousness. Would you like it if I went up to you and pulled your hair out of your head? Like, how do you know? How do you, like, just to think about other things as others and inanimate, and that they don't matter? I mean, it's really important to make reflective choices and conscious choices about our surroundings and how we're behaving in it and treating other beings as a whole. And I think if you just get those couple of things down, as a young child, that really helps to develop you into a heart-centered, joyful being. And that's a great gift to give to the world.
I don't know how you can follow up anything with that. I completely forgot. I wanted to ask you about your philanthropy work and giving back, because we talked about it before, and that just means I have to have you back on the podcast.
Yes, absolutely.
Mandatory to have you back on the podcast. But before we go, I'm going to jump off stage. I want you to let my audience know where they can find you, how they can connect with you, because I know a lot of my audience is going to be interested in talking with you. So the floor is yours.
All right. And I'm so happy to do that. To connect with me, just go to my website, Lainne.com, and you can book a call with me. I am here to be of service, and I love connecting with you. I love being able to answer your questions, and I love working with you. And if I'm not the right person for you, I am so happy to refer you to somebody that might be a better fit. At the end of the day, I'm just here to help you make your journey the best journey it can possibly be. So just go to Lainne.com, Lainne.com.
Here, there we go. Don't know what happened. Usually just one button and it works, but apparently it wasn't working today. Lainne, thank you so much for being an amazing guest and providing us with so much wisdom today on the podcast. I can't thank you enough for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a joy.
So to my audience, of course, you know where everything's going to be in the show notes down below. Make sure you check out Lainne's website so that you can take your learning to the next level and you can connect with this amazing entrepreneur. With that said, as always, remember to invest in your...
Thanks for tuning in. Now it's time to take the next step. When you're ready to dive deeper into how to launch, grow, and monetize your podcast, Phil's got something special for you. Join him for a free webinar where he'll reveal the 3 secrets that have helped countless entrepreneurs succeed in podcasting. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot, and let's turn your podcasting dreams into reality.
We interrupt this program to bring you an important Wayfair message. Wayfair's got style tips for every home. This is Nicole Byer, helping you make those rooms flyer. Today's style tip: when it comes to making a statement, treat bold patterns like neutrals. Go wild! Like an untamed animal print area rug under a rustic farmhouse table from Wayfair.com. Ooh, fierce! This has been your Wayfair style tip to keep those interiors superior.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.